corner of Nigeria called Onitsha. And I went to my primary school in that city, of course, my secondary school, and went to University of Nigeria in Soka. And thereafter, I'm basically a trader. That's the only thing I do. I trade. I was just taking them upstairs when they gave me some biscuits to eat. I said, wherever I go, I want to take the pack of what I've taken because I want to know whether I can sell it to make some money. So basically, I'm a trader. And I've done programs in different schools, which one of them is, I was telling her when I came here, I said, the only modern school in Oxford is State Business School. Every other building is old. And I want to tell you the history of the building. Because I spent some months here at State Business School, and they were taking us one college or the other, telling us this one is 13th century, 12th, I said, that's the only one that is modern. And that's the only place you get parking space. There's no parking space anywhere in Oxford. So basically, and why am I getting involved in politics? For me, life is about being human. Life is about trying to, the only thing you add in life is when you help to build a better society. When you see things working, when having lived in various parts of the world, and out of curiosity of my own, because people at times ask me, why did you go to all this school? I said, after being in school in Nigeria, I asked myself, I want to know what makes this school different. So I would pick up and say, George Soros, they say he went to London School of Economics. I look for a program in London School of Economics and go there. Maybe I read that I want to go for it. They say he went to Columbia. I look for a program in Columbia. Oh, this person went to Harvard. I look for it. And that made me to now be in Seattle, IMD, Kellogg, everything. So that's just out of curiosity. Let me know where there's special thing in their brain. And when I go there, I find out that no, it's the same thing. So that's why I went to all the school. Basically, my job as a trader went into politics. From being in school, I don't have enough time that I've told you what drove me into politics. Just like you people who were students. You know, a professor in Kellogg taught me into going into politics. His name now, Donald Jacob, the dean and the co-founder of Kellogg Graduate School. In 2001, I'll be very quick about it. I went through a program in Kellogg for 3 months. Professor Donald Jacob took us in a course called World Economy. For 3 months, he didn't say anything about Africa. You can imagine my frustration having paid $40,000 in this course. This man is teaching world economy, hasn't said anything about my continent, top place of my country. So a day before the last date, I raised my hand. I said, Dean, you haven't talked, you said it's world economy, but you haven't said anything about Africa. He said, do I want to know about Africa? I said, yes. I paid $40,000 for this course, and you haven't spoken about my content. He said, you will say tomorrow. The next day is his last day as a lecturer in Kellogg, where he has lectured for 57 years. So on that last day, the whole place was filled. A big hall. And when he finished, he looked at me and said, Peter, do you want to know about Africa? I said, yes. He said, there's nothing called African economy. Nobody plans with Africa. Have I ever seen African specification in vehicle? There's the Gulf spec, there's Euro spec, there's American spec, there's Asian spec, have I ever heard of them? I said, no. He said, in your country, do you have 20-year, 30-year economic plan? Of course. Even when I haven't seen, I said yes. We have in our own. Said, join me for lunch. So when he finished, I followed him for lunch. After we had lunch, he said, let's take a walk by Michigan. If you know Kellogg Graduate School, or they call it now Kellogg Business School, it's on the bank of Lake Michigan. So we started walking after lunch on the lake. He brought out two currencies. He said, do you have any of your country's currency? I said, yes. That time, the highest denomination of Naira, which is Nigerian currency, was 100 Naira. So I brought it out. He brought out $100. He said, which of these two currencies do you prefer, Peter? I said, dollar, $100. He said, why? I told him that it's 100 Naira to $1. So his $100 is 10,000 Naira, and my one is this. He said, okay, let's exchange it. So he took my 100 Naira and gave me $100. And we continued to walk. After we've done it, that's like a pull. It stopped again. I said, Peter, can I look at the dollars again? So I brought it out, feeling, please don't take it back. Because I've just gotten 10,000 Naira. So he said to me, tell me, Peter, which of these two currencies do you prefer? I said again, the dollar. Why? I told him the reason again. He said, let's sit down. So we sat down in a bench, watching the lake. He said, young man, I've been a lecturer, I've taught in Kellogg Graduate School for 57 years. Today is my last day. You own and have been involved in economies all over the world. The only reason why you prefer another country's currency to your currency is the amount of faith you have in your country. The economy is driven by faith. And what drives that faith is hope. Because there's no hope in your country, you don't have faith in it. So you prefer another man's currency. If you go around, British people keep their money in British pounds. Italians, there was no euro then. Italians keep their money in lira, even when the rate is almost any rate. Chinese in Chinese yuan, Singaporeans in Singaporean dollar, Malaysians in ringgit, Germans in Dutch. And went around and I said, but because you don't have faith in your country, you prefer another country's currency. Can I ask you for a favor? I said, yes. Can you go back to your country? Before you ask me that favor, you ask something. From your profile, you are a director in about three-quarter company, you're even a vice chairman of a bank. Are you worth $1 million? And I said, yes. Are you worth 2? I said, yes. Are you worth 5? I said, yes. He said, you don't need to. If you're worth $5 million, you can actually live your life for the rest of your life without making more money because you have enough food, enough to move around. If you invest it properly, it will be giving you all you need. The rest of the money after that is the one that is in the bank, and the bankers are using it to do that. I'm worth about the same thing. Can I ask you a favor? Can you go back to your country and participate in building public wealth? Go and serve in government. Public wealth enriches everybody. Individual wealth impoverishes everybody. That's what I will leave you with. That was where we stopped. And I had his $100. Said I should keep his $100, which I was very happy to keep. I left Kellogg the next day. I went back to Nigeria. There were a series of issues that happened, very sadly. And I decided, and I come home, you know what I mean? I came home to my wife and said, listen, I'm going to go to my state and contest for governor. Up to then, I never voted. Never had anything to do with politics. I didn't know what it means to have a young marriage and you're telling your said, Peter, are you crazy? What is happening to you? She started calling everybody. Doesn't know what are you feeling. Peter said he's going to the village to go and contest to be governor. Instead of investing in money, the investment we were trying to do then, that if I had invested today, I would have worth millions of dollars. I said, see this money, I'm going to put it in politics. I've stopped investing. And it was one of the most difficult things that happened in my life. But looking back now, as difficult, with all the things I've lost, I have a sense of fulfillment that at least I can say, I changed this. And even still participating in it in Nigeria. When I was coming here today, somebody asked me, said, how do you feel about contesting election for the office of the president and what has happened in everything and what I said, let me tell you, we're just beginning. We won't stop until we dismantle that crime scene. And I will dismantle it. So that's basically how I feel. For me, we need to all come together and make Africa work, make Nigeria work, and make collectively the Black world work.
Thank you so much for that. My next question is actually, you kind of spoke about the economy and like how it got you into politics. Currently with the rate of Naira being really high compared to like pounds, what do you think, A, would be the best policies to make sure that that is better and the Naira is stronger? And B, what do you think our current government's kind of take on that?
Well, for me, it's a very easy thing. First, you ask yourself, what drives the rate of your currency? It's a very simple answer. Your reserve. What drives your reserve? Your exports. Countries have been in where we are today. It's very sophisticated. If you look at my campaign, I insisted we must move from consumption to production. Simple. There's nothing wrong with entire Africa. Entire Africa, not just about Nigeria. What is lacking is one simple thing: leadership. You can turn it around in a small space of time. With effortless ease. I was discussing with somebody, I think it was this morning, and I said, listen, you have a situation, if I take the entire, I'm talking about the entire Africa now, because I'm sure so many people here are not from Nigeria. Am I right? Are all of you from Nigeria? Huh? No. Thank you. So we have 4 people from, where are you from? Somalia. Huh? Somalia. Thank you. The entire Africa, let me just compare the entire Africa so you see why we must do more. Today, Africa remains the only unexplored, unproductive continent. But the entire Africa, in terms of land size, Africa is about 30 million square miles of land. That's about 30 million square. Europe, the entire Europe, it's about 10,000. They're all 10,000 point something, and then this one is 30,000. So Africa, in terms of land size, is 3 times the size of Europe. In terms of population, the entire Europe is about 743 million. We are 1.4 billion something. So we are twice their size. And our youth population is unbelievable. Not from here. But when you now compare the fact that if you look at our economy, the entire Europe GDP is about 16.6. And we are 2.2. So we're 8 times that. And what is making it that? Just because I'm productive. So it's managing your rate of exchange is not a rocket science. It's fact that you have to produce and export something. By that, you increase your reserve, and if you increase your reserve, you manage your rates. The rates will come to what it's supposed to be. And in case of Nigeria, then I can come back to Nigeria. Nigeria today, I'll just give you an example using one or two states, which I always use on the map. We have a state called Niger State. Niger State is 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land in size. Very fertile land. Where you can grow your food, everything, even fresh pot. But Niger State today produces nothing. In fact, 7 local governments in a place called Niger State is occupied by bandits. So nobody goes there. Look at the population, and they have a population of about 5 million people. Netherlands in Europe is a total of 41,000 square kilometers of land. If you minus what they are about 33,000. But in 2021, 2022, they did export of agricultural products of $120-something billion. So Niger State is 2.5 times Netherlands, and this country could do export of over $125 billion. And these people, zero. The entire money they get from statutory allocation, if the money is allocated to them, the entire money they will get for the year is 50 billion naira. 50 billion naira today, I'm going to use just 1,000 to $1, is exactly $50 million. But if they do just 2% of the exports of Netherlands, $2.5 billion. So they could actually earn 50 times what they get from what is being shared if they do production. And they have more land space. Netherlands population is about 17.4 million, and they have about 5 million. So it's not a rocket science. This, you can say, is a developed country. But look at something like Vietnam that came out of war. Vietnam total export is over $400 billion, about $400 billion. Nigerian total export is about $40 billion. So we can't even do 10% of what Vietnam is doing. Vietnam is supposed to be the third world. They are 100 million people, so they are half of our population. And the total land space of Vietnam is 331,000 square kilometers of land. So we have to widen 3 times, because we are at 923,000. So we have 3 times the land space to widen their population, but look at the export. So it's not a difficult thing. What is difficult is that in Africa, the leadership and politicians have turned the space, including Nigeria, into a gigantic criminal enterprise and refuse to leave so we can build the country. And yet, it was putting Africa to putting them. All of you here at schools here, you have seen that there's no difference between people you met here and us. They're not more relaxed, they're not more intelligent, except that we have parents who have decided not to help. If you do that, you can curtail the man. It's just export. In our own case, we have natural resources. People are stealing our oil. And if I show you the calculation of what we're losing, People are saying now, or you won't believe it.
Thank you so much. My next question, you kind of spoke about productivity influencing how we're going to bring down the rate. But my question is, there's a lot of young talent leaving Nigeria because of the government, and that means, again, productivity is going down because we aren't able to retain young talent. How do you think is the best way to actually manage that?
Well, quite frankly, when I was campaigning, I wasn't against it. I wasn't against their living. They call it brain drain. And my position is that there will be brain gain when you fix the place. The change you see in Asia today were done by people, Asians that left the country. All I've seen in China today and everywhere in Asia, India, are people who left at the crisis stage and went to the better part of the world. All the people I met in school, in state school here, in church school in Cambridge, all of them are back to their place. So all of you will come back once the place is fixed. In fact, you will be the first investors with the money you're making here. My neighbor, I lived in the UK for 10 years. And I always tell people too, I lived in the UK when things were not working. They used to be, when they do light shedding in London, they'll tell me that I'm not going to have light for 8 hours. Before Margaret Thatcher came and broke down everything, without Margaret Thatcher, this won't be the way it is today. They used to have problems with London electricity, London water, UK telephone companies, the airports and everything. When Margaret Thatcher started privatizing all of them, and it changed. It's leadership. So now that it's happening, I could see. I used to have a neighbor who is from India. And he used to tell me, oh, this is what is happening and everything. But today is back to India. Same thing goes with one of the fastest growing economy today, or countries today, is Bangladesh. I was in Bangladesh in 2009 when the present Prime Minister started about that. You will not believe it. Then their per capita and their GDP was 1/3 of Nigeria. Per capita. Because we were about 2,000 and something. They were 700 and something then. Today, it's amazing where they are. In fact, they do just export of clothing, almost $50 billion. About our entire export, Bangladesh. And when I look at it, I could see what you can get by brain gain, when I talk about brain gain. The present Prime Minister was daughter of the first Prime Minister or founder of Bangladesh, who happened to be in his school in the Western world, in somewhere. And when terrorists came and killed the father, all the family, leaving only her and sister that were in school in England. Today you could see everything. And look at how the tech world, what Indians are doing. So the brain gain will come. Now nobody can say to you, oh well listen, stay in an environment that is not conducive and everything. When I went to university, those who went overseas were those who supposedly are not doing well at home. Today, it's the other way around. People want to go to school because they have a better school than it is. But I assure you, you are going to bring the talent, the resources that we need. So when we're saying about removing them, you are the resources we're going to use to change the place.
Thank you so much for your answer. You kind of touched on this question beforehand, but just in terms of, I know the Supreme Court recently ruled against the Supreme Court recently ruled against the appeal for the presidential. Or do you want to talk about it? You don't have to, but if you have any thoughts you want to share on it.
Well, I have to make comment on it, and I don't want to make comment on it. I will even try to make comment on it. Just
that's fine.
I just plead to be excused from this one. But I'll make comment on it, and you will read it, and you'll explore it.
Of course, no worries. So at this point, I just want to open it up to anybody in the audience who has any questions that they would like to ask.
I think you mentioned like the example of a place like Vietnam, you said the example of a place like Vietnam and other countries, and talking about their economic growth. I guess a question I wanted to ask is, in terms of like regional cooperation and, for example, trade between African countries, that's a major thing which is lacking. How do you see that potential future when there's more intra-African trade happening? What needs to happen for that to be the case?
Thank you. Intra-African. Next one.
I wanted to ask, like,
Speak louder, please.
as young people in the diaspora right now, what do you think we can do as, like, to be able to help, or like, to be able to help Nigeria?
Can you take one more question?
So this is just an intro. Recently, we saw like a wave of coups that happened across Francophone Africa. And one of them, the president of Burkina Faso, was praised for being very like anti-Western and anti-foreign aid. Especially now, we're also kind of seeing a move towards more trade with Russia and China and shifting away from the Western nations. So I was just wondering, do you think there's still a part of Western nations in conditions that keep African countries underdeveloped? This whole conversation of like neocolonialism and how that affects, the value of production we're able to have in this day and age.
Well, quite frankly, I'm going to take the two questions in the trade and what you said. The history of the black man, quite frankly, has been history of being less human. And we have to face the fact, being less human, being not equal to other races of the world, from slave trade to colonialism to such exploitation of making people feel superior and everything, which happened even in the streets of Western world and everything, where people feel okay, when I lived in the UK, I remember once they called us a meeting in the Nigerian High Commission where everybody comes and said, all these people are racist, all these people are this and all this blah. I agree. It's racism. I agree. There's discrimination and everything. But I always say to people, if you feel that racist, go back to your place where there's no racism. And that's the only way to solve it. If I come to somebody's house and he doesn't want me, I go home. But if you can't go home, well, some not in a condition that he gives you because that's it. So I lived here, and I lived on any condition. I didn't have to complain because if it was good for me, I would be here. So, simple. Yes, what you say, there is still, and that's what I'm trying to tell you, that it has to do with leadership of the continent of Africa. Africa has the youngest youth population today. Very resourceful, very energetic. That if properly applied by investing in the human infrastructure, by educating them, doing the right things to generate that human capital, the world will not be the same again. And that brings what is said about intertrade. Today you have, tomorrow, British people get up and say, oh, British African meeting. He invites all the African heads of states heads of government, presidents, and they come to London to be lectured about governance and how to live their life. Tomorrow is the German African Summit. The next day is the France African Summit. And our presidents are willing to run to Europe to listen to all this. Come on. Africa is more resourceful, have more opportunities than all these people inviting them. Like I said before, I use Nigeria as an example. Germany, the biggest economy in Europe. UK, the second biggest economy in Europe. France, the third one. If you put these three together, in terms of land size, they're about 1,152,000 square kilometers of land. UK is about 243. I think France is about 551, and you have 357 for Germany. If you put these three together, they're actually just about 15-20% bigger in terms of land size than Nigeria. In terms of population, UK has 67, France has 64, and Germany at 84. It's about 216 million. That is the size of Nigerian population. But when you combine their economy, the GDP of three of them put together, of course, Germany at 4.4, you have UK at 3.3, and France about 3. They are about 10 trillion, 10 point something trillion, and we are 400. They are 25 times our GDP. How come we have the same size of land, most same size of land, and we have the same size of population, more resources, more useful, and they are doing 25 times what we do. So you could see that, why is that happening? Because we have not sat down to put our resources in an effective, productive way. If we do that, we don't need to. I see people rushing and saying, oh, we are looking for foreign investor. Nobody looks for foreign investor. Foreign investor has a relationship with like bee and honey. If you put honey here, all of us now put honey here, and we'll go out of this room. Tomorrow, if you come here and see bee, how to enter here, only God knows. But you have one here, bee will come in. And that's how foreign investors are. We don't need to look for them. Stay back and fix your country. I was in Bangladesh about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago to do a lecture. They freed the G20 meeting in India. The French President Macron came to Bangladesh. You know why? The Bangladesh Airways have ordered 10 Airbus 350. He came to see the Prime Minister. You don't go to people and say, okay, come and invest in a war-torn area or in a place where people are stealing everybody. No, nobody takes his money there. Fix your place, stay back there. So there's still this mentality of slavery, colonialism, everything, rather than stay back and deal with what we can do to be able to create a reason. And instead of intertrading with Africa and going to go to Europe, you meet them as partners. Not they're inviting you like we've been to Nigeria, we're inviting you for a G20 meeting, and maybe we'll put Nigeria in it as a concession to the remember, so it becomes tokenism. I have said it. I won't go to such meetings as President of Nigeria. I will go as a member. Whatever they've done with their economy to qualify them, I will do it because I've been to everywhere, including schools with them. They don't have better bread. And what they are doing is available to me. And I can do it. All I need is to stay back and do the right things. And then I have to ask the question, what do we do to help? A lot. Because you're dealing with a situation where you are exposed, you are in the Western world, you know what the problem is. Most people who are there are trapped. They don't know what the problem is. They think, oh, if I'm campaigning and I come to campaign and I give people money and everything to vote for me, that will change their life. They didn't know that their money is being stolen and given back to them in a small manner. But they don't look at it, what could be. So there's a lot we can do, all of us, by saying, oh, we can't go this way. This is where we're going to go. And what are they doing today to make it work? Oh, they come and tell you about, oh, this person is from here, this person is this person is this. Now we talked about Naira and the pound exchange. You said so. Is there any tribe that buys pound cheaper in Nigeria? Is there any tribe that buys bread cheaper? Is there any religion that buys it cheaper? Because these are things they introduce. I can tell you there's Muslims, there's Christians in Nigeria. If there's any place Muslims buy bread cheaper, Christians will go there and buy the bread and go back to their church. If there's any place Muslims buy dollar or pound cheaper, Christians will go there and buy. But these are things they use. And I always use them and tell them that I used to go to Dubai. I went to Dubai for the first time in my life in 1991 when there was nothing in Dubai. You will not believe it. The only church, Catholic church in Dubai, the land was donated by Emir of Dubai. The building, the church was built by him. And it's Catholic church. If you go there, you see it. So that's built, done, donated by him. You know. But the back home, they tell you, oh, it's Muslim, it's this. Because they use it as manipulation. Or you're from this side, you're from that side. If you see anywhere anybody buys bread cheaper, let me know. So these are things people like you can help to get people to understand that what we need is good governance that will start taking issues that bother us on development, investing in education, investing in health, investing in pulling people out of poverty. This is all we need to do. I need to have a place.
Thank you so much for those answers. Do we have any more questions in the audience?
He didn't ask his question.
It was asked fairly well by the
Okay.
host.
That's
I
fair.
did want to expand a little bit on the front of economic liberation. I'm not African myself. I'm originally Iraqi, and we have a kleptocracy. So I can comment on Nigeria. But you mentioned fixing the country, solving the issues and stuff like that. And I just wanted to ask, I guess, if you had 3 steps for actually fixing the country, maybe expanding on that, fixing the country and freeing itself from this economic neo-colonialism, what would those 3 steps be? So that most Iraqis can maybe take a lesson.
Well, I just say this as I'm concluding. Studies have shown that more educated a country is, the more developed. It's a classroom. So, you need to invest in education. Because your human capital is far more important than your physical capital. You know, in Nigeria, if you're elected in government, you can start just building school, start constructing, really anything, and people celebrate you. But the actual thing is that you need to invest in education. You have to invest in health, because it is health that drives your, well, when you talk about measure of development, it's Human Development Index is the most accepted standard. And these 3 things are bothered on 3 things. One is health, life expectancy. So you need to invest in that, because the more healthy people are, the more productive they are. And everything. I look at Nigeria today where they tell you that the level of depression, the level of being healed, mental cases, because you can see somebody moving without knowing that is actually a mental problem due to depression, due to all sorts of suffering. So you need to invest in health. You need to invest in education. You need to invest in pulling people out of poverty. And that is not, again, I always use Nigeria as an example, is that you have a critical position where you have a pool of youth that are talented in everything, but there's no fiscal measure to support what they're doing. In this country, for example, and I use this country, for example, the engine of growth is in SMEs, small businesses. And small businesses, whether in America, everywhere, as young people, that's where innovation is, that's where technology is, where all that. Above all this, one of the biggest contributors to the Western world economy is actually what we can call intangible assets of law and order. If I do business here, if I do things here, I'm sure that if anything happens, I can go to the police, I can go to the court, and I can get court to interpret it in a way that is favorable. In our place, I don't know whether it's something, it depends on where you're coming from. So somebody can just go out there and then do something very ridiculous and get away with it. Another person will do it and go to jail. So, but there's law and order. People I was doing a joke about a month ago, and I said, someone, let me tell you. In my country, I can start with my wife. I've never done so. Very careful. I always say to people that, so I can shout, I can do anything. I can even, if it's like what they said, I can even beat them. And she can't go to police, she cannot do it. But in London, I can't take that risk. Because if I shout at her, it goes to police will say I should leave my house and stay somewhere else. But in my country, she has to go. Because I have people who even say, this woman, she's causing trouble. So let I just leave this house and go. Same thing. So the law and order also has its own contribution on how people behave. I cannot do what we call in Nigeria one way. This is the road, and I put drive on this road because I know that somebody is going to stop me. No matter how good, how big my car is, the police will say stop. But if I do it, Nigeria say, it's fit and let him go. So there's the behavior, the character, the behavior, conduct is critical in leadership. That's what you do thereafter. I just came and said, what is your name? Here's my CV. Whatever I wrote here is verified. And if any of them is not true, it's very important when it comes to issue of leadership. It's not something that tomorrow you say, but I say, what is in it? What is the fact that I was involved in rape rounds in university? What is involved that I had, so you so that is not an issue. Oh, he cheated when he was in school. Oh, he was an armed robber yesterday. So today is changed because he's not the governor. It's no longer, these are issues that have defined that we need to overcome. I must say, I had a lot of Iraqi friends, while I was in school, different places, putting my account and then in London and everything. If you see today, let me give you an example today. There's more protests in Iraq than there is in Africa. You know why? Because Iraqis are more educated today than they were yesterday. You're protesting when your per capita is over 5,000. I'm sure those communities should be 5,000. We are not protesting when we are 1,000 and something because of education. The more educated you are, the more you say, well, listen, I can't take this, but I can, that is source of development. So we do the right things.
Thank you so much for that answer. Just rounding up, I have two last questions. So you talked about at the beginning that this is only the beginning for you after the election. So what's next for you?
You can imagine that. I'll leave you to guessing it. What do you do after this? For me, I want to spend my life, the rest of my life, in helping to build a better society. There's just nothing else because, life is so ironic. And when I was growing up, I used to look at people who are eating very good food, maybe go to a restaurant where you have all sorts of meals, eat anything, any meat, anything, drive all sorts of vehicle where you have, this type of vehicle, this type, and you're saying, where will I have money to be able to buy this? Where will I be able to do this? And of course, by His grace, because everything in life is by grace of God, for me and Christ. By His grace, I have money. We have been able to buy. Okay, the biggest of Mercedes, big base of BMW, then you get to a stage, those cars make meaning to you any longer. Because for you just want to transfer from here to here. Then you now have money to be able to eat everything. The doctors are now telling you, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this. Say, what is it now that I have money to this type of meat, this type of, the only thing I'm not reduced to is eating flour and everything and all that. So he said, what is this? So you can't even eat those things you want to eat. So they make no meaning to you. And after being government, it actually worsened because after being in government, you now see poverty. You now see people suffering. And it becomes meaningless to you. Why am I going to stay in this type of place? I travel now, and people say to me, I'm talking with people in the car, even as I'm coming here. And I said, so how much is the ticket? He said, this is this. This first class is this, business class is this, economy plus this. So for me, that was, as a young man, free first class, Nigeria was, today I can't do it because when they tell me the cost, I say, okay, if I fly this one, I'll save this amount. I'll use it for this. If I fly this one, I'll save this amount. I'll use it for this. What am I going to do now? You've seen people say, he has only one shoe, has only one this, he has only two shoes, has only. Not that I have one shoe or two shoes or I have three of this. But for me at this stage, the only purpose of the shoe is for the leg to be protected from being hurt. It doesn't make any difference any longer. Because I'm not attracted to anybody any longer who will say, my shoe is good or bad. No. I have no reason to be looking for this. And I tell the person, I have a wonderful wife. I always say it. And I always tell her, I can't go through what she goes when she's getting ready to go out. Because it's no longer possible for me to be looking for black shirt, to match red shoe, to match this. All I do now is I just have black shoe. Simple. No change. So as you go along, you're not constrained that you want to help humanity. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I just came back from a trip because you asked me this question. I showed you something in my phone. I said somebody, I'm coming to New York. And graciously said to me, oh, very good. I'm going to, what do you want me to do? I said, I just need, he said, oh, let me get a hotel for you. Since you're just going to stay one day in New York. And I said, very good, very good. That's fine. Then he books the hotel for me and sends me the details of the hotel. And says, oh, I booked the hotel for you. This is, I don't know whether I will make this private or open, but it's good that I tell you what, my age now and what I do now. So, well, I booked this hotel for you. So I said, okay. So I see the cost of the hotel. And I said to him, so I sent him a message. And I said, you can see, you can read it out, That's the message, that's what it is. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
It says, thank you sincerely, Chairman, and my very dear elder brother. But I wish to respectfully appeal that this is expensive. There must be a room below $500, all inclusive, in the same facility, or we go for a lower brand of their chain, i.e. Crown Plaza Holiday Inn. Looking forward to meeting you as directed. God bless you always.
So I said to him, listen. He said, no, you're safe. I said, listen, sir, I'm only going to sleep. What you pay now can keep me awake. It's because, but this is what you aim when you're young. I want to sleep in the streets. I want to have the best of it. But then things, it makes no meaning. Half of what you paid, I can give to somebody who needs it for his life. So I don't need to. Nobody, you like that, I don't know where I slept last night. Do you? You don't know. Maybe I just slept in one, even on probably here. You didn't know. I just woke up in the morning. But there's a time in your life, like you people are now, I must tell you, it makes meaning to you. I have young people like you who it makes meaning to say, oh, well, listen, my daughter will tell me that I'm a girl. I said, okay, don't worry. You get to stay. So for me, the rest of my life is about helping to build a better humanity, a better society, and helping to ensure that we pull Nigeria and Africa out of where they are now, mentally, psychologically, because it's critical for them to understand that they can be members of G8, G20, BRICS by competition, not by concession or by people who you can compete and you get there. And that drives the process. We can reduce the rate of exchange by doing more on export, saving our money, doing everything. We can live a better life by not being corrupt. You don't need to steal public money to be able to come and buy a house you don't need in London, in Wales, in Manchester, in Oxford, and everywhere. You don't need it. I was there in Oxford, like I said, for months. I was in Cambridge for months. You don't need to. I just paid one small corner, and after that, here you go. So you can do all that. And that's what I want to do. Going around, trying to, coming to see you. Where's the organizer? Okay, you don't say you're here. When they invited me for this, I said, what are you doing? I said to them, I told him something when we were there. I said, even if I just see 10 people, I'm able to speak to them, maybe achieving 2. That's the change I want to do for the rest of my life.
to anyone who's looking to become a politician, especially, what would be your top tip that you would give them?
Well, the first thing I'll tell them is ensure that, like you are here, have good education. You're already in the best place anybody can be. Just let me mention about fund. Have some education. Ensure that you have something you're doing. Politics should not be your job, should not be your means of livelihood. Because what it does is it leads you into what we're trying to solve now. Should be a vocation. Somebody thinking you can willingly do without. I came here with somebody, I can say is a sister, and I cherish the way he does her things, Aisha Yusuf. She has something she's doing. So you can afford to comment on the society. I can tell people, I was in Princeton 3 weeks ago. I did a keynote on HLS event in Princeton. I was in Princeton just 2 days ago. I went to where Chimamanda spoke at an event. And you could see when Chimamanda says, a man I deeply admire, the way I met Chimamanda, there was an occasion in his village. And I used to know the parents, and came, they said, oh, they're expecting the governor. So they said the governor hadn't arrived. But I was there. Because for Nigeria, for you to be a big man, a social man, the only way you can recognize is to be a bit irresponsible. Rascality and bad behavior have become a measure of success and power. So there's a gathering like this, and I come late and I'm stormed into and sit in front. That shows that the big man arrived. But you said to me, this event starts at 2. Isn't what he said? And I came before 2. I was here because the time needed to be here before 2. So I waited because he said we should wait. No problem. But not to come by 4 and start making the people feel, oh, I'm a big man, should have been waiting for me since 10. No. Even if the people are small, they too have some other in their own little life, even if it's to sleep. You should have to allow them to do that. So, for me, that is, I don't know how I'll put it there. For me, if I go back to your question again, which was what was the last question again?
Top tip. Top tip for people getting involved in
Yes.
politics.
For people who are getting involved in politics, please, just ensure that you have a life. Before going into it, don't take it that this is what I'm going to do, so that you don't have a life. Do something. Like I have to tell people, I have something I'm doing. I will talk into going into politics. I have 2 young people in my house, and they are graduates, so they're, I was asking somebody today whether Oxford is good in philosophy. I read philosophy in Soka. My son left philosophy in Bristol. That was I asked him about philosophy in Oxford, because I know they're good at history. But what am I trying to say? I won't talk them into going into politics. And I tell them that, don't look at me. I'm the politician, you're not. Go and find life. Start doing something. It gets to a stage in your life when you must have done something that can bring a bit of success that you can go back to. I'm a lawyer, for example. If this can do this and go back to, but when you turn it into love, difficult. Again, we'll get to that stage where people have done it in the Western world here, where they do a bit of working and then continue a life of politics. But they usually go back to where they're coming from. So my tip is get a life and then wait until it becomes even a better world to go into. Today, you won't compete in it. You won't want to be part of it. So let's just destroy yourself.
Thank you so much again for coming and giving us some of your time and dropping some very good pieces of advice and wisdom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. So we'll take a short 5 to 10 minute break, and then we'll start our next panel for the culture. So yeah, if you need some water, there is a water fountain in the cafe just there. Or if you need the loo, there are stairs going downstairs. And we also have some biscuits we'll bring down to you guys.